making a black unicorn cake. It has been a trend to do the white one, so I wanted to do a black one. The original unicorn cake came from a baker in Canada. I will leave a link to her stuff down below so you can check out the original unicorn cake. Now let's get what we need to make this unicorn cake. Start with some vanilla cake. I will leave my recipe down below if you'd like to use it. If not, you can use your own. Some food coloring and some baking pans, and of course some sprinkles for this. Start by scooping out 4 to 5 scoops of this batter and then add some color to it. I'm going to start with pink, mix that up, and I'm going to be using the same bowl for each of these. I'm going to add sprinkles, and with a table scoop, I'm going to be scooping out some of that batter and placing it in each of these pans. I am using the Wilton 5-pan package, but you can make it whichever size you like. The cake batter may vary and you may need more. Here I'm mixing the blue batter with some sprinkles and scooping some of the batter into those pans. And then with that last bit of batter, I'm going to dye it purple, mix it in, add some sprinkles, and with the tablespoon, pour some of this batter out into each pan. Once everything is scooped, I'm going to mix those together. I added a little bit of white that I had left over, and then you're going to bake these at 350 degrees for about 20 to 25 minutes. It varies on your oven. While those are baking, make some frosting. I did 2 batches of my recipe and I will leave it in the description box. And as always, you are welcome to use your preferred one. I just filled each layer up with some frosting, added some sprinkles in there before putting on the next layer, and then just kept repeating the same technique of adding some frosting and then putting the next cake layer in. And just keep doing this until your whole cake is stacked. Once your last layer is on, just do a crumb coat on this cake, a thin coat since we're going to be using black frosting, and then stick it in the fridge for about 10 minutes just to harden the frosting a bit. And while the cake is chilling, take about 3 good spoonfuls of the frosting and dye that black. This is going to be for our outside of the cake. I put it in a piping bag to pipe this frosting batter onto the cake. Once the whole cake is covered with the black frosting, I used a bench scraper to scrape the frosting to smooth it out as best as possible. Now with your colors, the pink, blue, and purple, we're going to dye the frosting that we're going to use for the decoration. I started with pink and filled a bag up with that. All the tips that I use, I will put in the description box down below as well. And here I just put the frosting into a piping bag. Saved a little bit of the pink because in one of the bags I am going to put pink, blue, and purple into it, as you can see here. Then in that same bowl, I'm adding more frosting again, dyeing it blue, and adding that to its own piping bag. And I scooped it into the piping bag and saved some again for that third bag. And finally, I took another portion of that frosting and dyed it purple. Once that's mixed well, I just added it to the third bag. Unfortunately, I filmed it off camera, but I just filled the rest of it up, and as you can see here, I just scraped it all together. And here I'm using a little bit of fondant to create the horn for this unicorn cake and a lollipop stick. I just rolled out a thin snake of the fondant and then rolled it around the lollipop stick. Once it was done, I used some shimmer to make this silver. I wanted my unicorn to have silver details for the horn. You can do any color you like, you can do gold or anything. Just get some of that luster dust and some vodka and paint the horn. Now I took some fondant and dyed it black for the ears and used some white for the inner ear. It will look like a panda at first, but once you put it all together, I promise it will look like a unicorn. I put some toothpicks into these so they can stand better on top of the cake. And here I'm just placing them on top. And then I decided to put some more of that silver luster dust on the ears just to give it a little bit of a silvery shimmer to the ears. And then put that unicorn horn into the center. And here I just started piping out my frosting to the details. Gave it a kind of a mohawk style on here. Just randomly started placing some colors around. There's some blue there too. And then this bag is the third one, the one with the pink, blue, and purple in there, and just Did a little bit of the hairstyle in the front, and then I covered the back with some of that frosting, and then I finally took some white and did the eyes with some lashes. And here is an inside shot of this cake. Here you can see all that multicolored layers inside, the pink, blue, and purple cake in there. And that's how you make this black unicorn cake. I hope you enjoyed this recipe. If you did, give it a thumbs up. If you want to see more recipes and everything I post, hit the subscribe button down below. If you want to follow me on Tumblr, Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook, all those links are down below as well. Until next time, stay sweet.